a lot of people questioned my sanity when I decided to run for Congress. And I think this was the right thing to do because people in Rhode Island deserve more folks in their government that they elect who reflect them and their priorities.
The journey of so many Rhode Islanders and their families is one of grit, hard work, determination, and resilience.
It's been 2 months since Gabe Amo made history, becoming the first person of color to represent Rhode Island in Congress.
Thank you to Rhode Island for putting your trust in me. I won't let you down.
What have people been saying to you about what your historic win means to them?
I got into this race. I said I was running to make a difference, not to make history. But we are all representative of so many different aspects. Just this morning, someone said to me, "We're rooting for you." I don't necessarily know who the we is, but I like to think the we is the whole of the Rhode Island community because it's not just my success.
Amo grew up in Pawtucket, where he attended Catholic school and was an altar server. He says he learned the value of hard work from his parents. He saw his mother, a Liberian immigrant, put in double shifts as a nurse in nursing homes, while his father, an immigrant from Ghana, ran a liquor store. The pursuit of a better life motivated Amo's parents to leave West Africa. That same dream has brought a surge of migrants to the U.S.-Mexico border.
House Speaker Mike Johnson and fellow Republicans at the border in Eagle Pass, Texas today, saying America is at a breaking point.
How to address it is a contentious issue for lawmakers. Congressman Amo says the humanity of these immigrants needs to be respected, but he adds the United States also needs to secure its border.
That's everything from having more Border Patrol officers. It's also investing in our immigration courts and asylum process so that it's actually functional, so people are not disincentivized from finding legal pathways here. So we have to act this with some urgency.
Do you expect that Rhode Island will see an increase in these migrants?
I think if it's just a natural effect, if there are more people coming over, I think everybody is going to be impacted. This is why we need a comprehensive solution.
There will be people who say, how can we welcome newcomers when we barely have enough affordable housing in our state for the people who are already here?
Yeah. And I think that is a reasonable point. Our challenges with affordable housing are broad. And this is why, as we look at these solutions, it cannot be piecemeal. We have to make sure that we slow the arrival of people, but we have to do it in a way that respects that there are often legitimate asylum reasons for people to flee the nations of origin.
And what is beautiful about hope is that it cares not about your race, your religion, your gender, or where your ancestors came from.
The 36-year-old is now the second millennial in Rhode Island's congressional delegation after Representative Seth Magaziner. Amo's young, but he's hardly a newcomer to politics. He worked for former Rhode Island Governor Gina Raimondo, as well as President Joe Biden and former President Barack Obama.
Was your intention always when you were working for Governor Raimondo, President Biden, President Obama, that someday you would seek elected office?
I'm not sure that I ever thought it was certain. I was blessed to work for great ones. And having the opportunity to work for great people, it plants a little seed in your head about what you might be able to do.
Amo credits his dad with sparking his interest in world affairs. He says his dad would play the headline news on a 30-minute loop. The father and son also spent a lot of time at Summit Liquors. The congressman's father, Gabriel Amo, has owned the liquor store on Hartford Avenue in Providence since Amo was a young boy.
This is it, right?
Gracias.
On the day we met with Gabriel Amo, the congressman jumped right in to help his dad.
When he came here, I was 7, 8 years old, and on your Saturdays, if you're going to spend time with your dad, in my case, you're going to spend time here at the store.
Gabriel Amo says he wasn't all that surprised that his son chose to run for office given his early interest in politics.
So anytime I'm watching the news, he's interested. He wants to know what's going on. And then he asks questions. Daddy, what happened? How did he do this? Why and how? He was always asking questions.
Gabriel Amo had a question of his own when his son told him last year he was going to run for Congress.
First thing I asked him, I said, how are you going to do it? I was in doubt. I said, nobody knows you. He said, Daddy, well, nobody knows you, but people know you. You've been in this business for a long time, and everybody knows you are my father. So they'll get to know me when I get in, right? And then he did it, and I'm so proud of him. When you work hard, the goal is always success.
Tonight, Ukraine is reeling from what it says is Russia's biggest aerial attack yet.
As Amo prepares for his first full year in Congress, he's thinking about the violence raging overseas. He sits on the House's Foreign Affairs Committee. Next month will mark 2 years since Russia invaded Ukraine. And Amo says the United States needs to continue providing aid to Ukraine, even though support is waning nationwide.
At what point do you feel like the United States needs to scale back its assistance? So far, the United States has directed more than $75 billion in assistance to Ukraine.
This is a battle for the protection of democracy around the world. We can't have foreign leaders arbitrarily deciding that they want to go take back what they view as lost possessions. This conflict requires American leadership and support, because we know that the goals and aims of Vladimir Putin would not end with Ukraine. And we cannot risk American troops being on the ground if his current objectives are met.
Amo's attention is also on another conflict, the Israel-Hamas war. While the congressman says he's sympathetic to the lives lost in Gaza, he supports President Biden's commitment to root out terrorism by Hamas.
I want to express how heartbroken I am by the images that we see of innocent civilians, Palestinians largely, who have lost lives, who have seen families harmed irreparably. And we also have Israelis who are reeling from hostages who have yet to be returned, the people who were murdered by Hamas.
Back at home, Amo's former boss, President Biden, is beginning the race for re-election. The congressman says Biden has his support.
I was there for the first 2 years of the Biden White House, and I saw the historic impact of the infrastructure law, of the Inflation Reduction Act, of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. I can keep going.
I'm optimistic about that.
Amo is also up for re-election this year. When he's not in Washington, D.C., he says he wants to meet with constituents in Rhode Island's 1st Congressional District and hear what's on their minds.
Love to get a readout from you of future conversations.
When his time in office comes to an end, whenever that may be, Amo says this is how he hopes to leave it.
That those rungs on the ladders of opportunity are closer. That someone who grows up on Sisson Street in Pawtucket, just a few blocks from where we are, has the same chance to serve in Congress, to be a doctor, to be a professor, or a lawyer as someone who grows up in Oak Hill or the east side of Providence. That opportunity is equally distributed. You just got to get one hand on the rung.